Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you check out blackfilesnews.com/shop. Get yourself some paraphernalia, man, from the shop, man. Support us as we continue to support y'all. Got our logo on it, but we got the Still Our Grind line, the promotion for my album that's coming out, and the Instagram mixtape that's out there. We got the Stop That KKK line, you know what I mean? All types of stuff that can match with anything in your wardrobe, you know what I mean? So you ain't got no excuse for not buying copies of shit if you want to support, you know what I'm saying? Raise the consciousness level up of those around you, being the voice for the people. You know how our logos be looking, you know what I'm saying? Keep it spiffy. Different wild colors too, you know what I'm saying? But moving on though, we are at the day after election day. And yesterday was obviously, it's been tensions all throughout the year, shit, throughout Trump presidency, let's be real. But nevertheless, you had last night, you know, Joe Biden doing the peaceful politician thing in Wilmington, Delaware, talking about, you know, we need to have patience with the votes and, you know, it's just going to take time, but we're going to win this. You know, he's coming at it like that. And, you know, Trump already just off the hinges, like, first off, 1 a.m. he's tweeting, accusing the Democrats of trying to steal the election, right? And then at 2:20 a.m., he actually addresses the nation, saying this is a major fraud case. And, you know, this is why we're going to take this to the U.S. Supreme Court. I want all voting to stop. We're not going to be at 4 a.m., you know, still collecting new votes. This is a very sad moment. But, you know, we're going to win this. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I've already won. First and foremost, historically, the election isn't decided at midnight of election day. You know what I'm saying? Like, the counting always goes into the next day at the very least. You count until you fucking finish counting all of the votes. So him even saying that, like, that's supposed to be the evidence of fraud is some bullshit. You know what I mean? And that's just being objective. It's some bullshit. He offered no evidence of any fraud or any proof that the Dems are trying to steal a race. None of that. He's just gaslighting the fuck out of Republicans. That's what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the same time, you have right now the states in you got like Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Georgia still counting ballots. Right now the presidential race is pretty close. Keep in mind, you know, it's over the course of 4 years since like Hillary was running for president, whatever. So many voting places have been shut down, and just with coronavirus and all of that, whatever, like them shutting down more polling stations, a lot of funny shit been going on, and still it is a close race, and it's looking like Biden is actually up on a popular vote. Some say by a couple million, but you know, he wouldn't be the first Democrat to actually be up on the popular vote and then lose the election. Nevertheless, that's the type of climate we're dealing with right now. We'll see how this turns out. As far as the Supreme Court situation, Trump will actually have to go take these matters to the state courts. Like, this is a state thing before it becomes a federal thing. So it would be a lot of work in order to get such a case in front of, have the election decided in the Supreme Court. It's not as clear as day. It's just saying, I think this is fishy, let's go to the Supreme Court. I just put Amy Coney Barrett in there, so, you know what I mean, we good. We gonna get this and get the fuck up out of here and go on about our presidential business. Like, it don't work like that. But that's what's happening, people. Y'all stay woke and stay safe out there too, because there's some crazy motherfuckers that you know, just might not be feeling well today about a certain somebody being in a close race. Green War and Graduation. News reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So everybody know about the presidential elections going on, votes being counted, but y'all didn't think the presidential elections were gonna have all the fun, did you? It was all in the executive branch? Nah, like the legislative branch is getting a rocket too. There's a lot of people in this House and the Senate that actually were running their re-election bids or whatever, and right now it looks like the majorities are gonna remain the same, as far as the Senate being majority Republican and the House of Representatives being majority Democrat. But some things change. Let's start with the Senate. I mean, you had Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. He easily kept his seat. The Republican dude, by the way. You have Lindsey Graham, actually a Republican who actually defeated Jamie Harrison in South Carolina. And he actually even had a message like, to all you posters out there, you don't know what you're doing. And to all you liberals in California and New York, you wasted your money. That's the worst return of investment in politics ever, in U.S. politics, whatever. Now, mind you, that was actually the most expensive race actually done in U.S. Senate history. Also, you had Kelly Loeffler, senator in Georgia, or WNBA owner. She looks like she's going to keep her seat. Mike Epsy, who actually served under Bill Clinton's cabinet as a Democratic senator now, and Bill Clinton's cabinet, he was like the head of U.S. agriculture, the first African American person to actually hold that position. But he actually has taken a loss to a Republican. Some overturns, but for the most part, though, you have it's going to remain majority Republican. Now, as far as the House, you had some people give up some seats, so there's some shift in the like the Democrats actually look like they're giving up ground, but the whole squad actually remains intact as far as Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Rashida Tlaib. So, four female progressives who definitely made a lot of noise since them being in their seats, whatever, and being, subjected to racism and all of that, but still, holding their head high, still standing on great morals and principles or whatever, and still be able to be here alive, which is something to say because they've all experienced death threats, you know what I'm saying? And even by the president of the U.S. been told to go back to their country, wherever the fuck that is. But that's what's shaking in the U.S. Politics and the U.S. government scene. Green Wall and graduation. News report of the New World Order. Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So over in New York, you had New York's 16th congressional district. Jamal Bowman actually won that House of Representatives seat, beating out his Republican challenger. This is somebody that had already beat Elliot Engel, former congressional chair committee, foreign affairs chair. Foreign Affairs Committee chair. Nevertheless, Jamal Bowman, this is somebody who ran on the platform of Medicare for All and Green New Deal. He said he's going to Congress he's going to Washington D.C. to basically fight for housing as a human right and healthcare as a human right. Like, this is somebody that seems like he's really for the people. This is a former Bronx middle school teacher, middle school principal rather. So, we'll see how that turns out. Also in New York, you had Mondaire Jones and Richie Torres becoming, they actually winning seats after some Congress members have retired. They will be the first two openly gay black men to actually be elected to Congress. So, it looks like times are changing. Green Wall and graduation. Report of the New World Order. Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So over in Missouri, actually, in the 1st Congressional District, which actually includes Ferguson and St. Louis, you had Cori Bush, a BLM organizer, single mother, nurse. This is somebody who was like homeless some years ago, whatever, led the uprising in 2014, the outburst of protest that came from the murder of 18-year-old Mike Brown. Cori Bush actually won the 1st Congressional District, beating out this, this Republican dude. If you see a picture of him, he just looked like a fucking racist Trump supporter, right, or whatever. But I ain't gonna put that on you, Mr. Rogers. That Rogers was his last name or whatever, but that's just how you look. Nevertheless, Cori Bush, she actually won that. You know what I'm saying? Female, go ahead. Shout out to her. Then on the flip side, though, because it ain't all good, over in Georgia, for example, in the 14th Congressional District, you had Marjorie Greene, actually a white lady, QAnon conspiracy supporter that actually won that seat. And this is somebody that, has just been obviously ran on an anti-abortion, anti-immigration, pro-gun platform. So, the ties changing, but nevertheless, the House of Representatives remains majority Democrat out of those 435 seats, and out of the 100 Senate seats, the Senate remains majority Republican. Green Wall and graduation. Hold on, the New World Order. Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So the USPS, the U.S. Postal Service, they actually announced that there are over 300,000 mail-in ballots that couldn't be traced and were unaccounted for. So in response to that, federal courts had actually issued an order for the USPS to actually sweep all of its facilities to basically make sure that they have all of the mail-in ballots. USPS refused to do so. They had up until 3 p.m. today to do so. This actually affected 12 postal districts across 15 states. And there, with this lack of compliance, it actually affects battleground states, especially like states like Arizona and Pennsylvania, where you had to have all of your results in by the end of election day in order for the votes to count. So real funny business going on. Keep in mind that the USPS Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, big Trump donor. That's what he do. He donates a lot of money has donated a lot of money to the Trump campaign. Already was in the hot seat for having making these changes that actually could delay mail-in deliveries for ballots or whatever, and essentially affect the election. Everybody know that it seems like, this data shows that Democrats are more likely to vote by mail, and so the implication is obvious. Keep in mind, the New York Times has actually reported that Black and Latino community voters, mail-in ballots have actually been rejected at higher rates than that of white people, especially in areas like Georgia and Florida. So those are battleground states, you know what I'm saying, and seen as red states a lot. Keep in mind, you have a group of activists called Protect the Results. They're gathering around the country in 500 different locations in order to protest Trump, talking about last night how, declaring victory over the election. So, I mean, those are just words though, you know what I'm saying, coming from Trump. But, I guess people do got to take him serious because of how radical the right has actually shown itself to be, or at least his supporters have shown themselves to be. But, he's not going to act on that. Those are just words unless, they get violent, in which case now you're talking about a coup. But that's not law and order, is it, Trump? We'll see. Green Wall and graduation, though. Report of the New World Order. Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report, man. Make sure you check out blackfilesnews.com/shop. Get yourself some paraphernalia, support the channel. Definitely check out blackfilesnews.com/opportunities as well. See what kind of advertising deals you can set up with us. We got internships available and all of that, whatever. But for you young business owners or whatever, it'll definitely behoove you to actually tap into our conscious buyers that actually pay attention to our site and our information, because these are people that like making informed decisions. So if you got some good product out there, y'all should link with us. Definitely blackfilesnews.com/opportunities. Now, on election day, 92,000 COVID-19 infections were reported in the United States. 1,100 deaths. Hospitalizations are the highest that they've been seeing since mid-August. You had the former FDA commissioner, Dr. Gottlieb, that actually said we should expect to see like 1,000 deaths per day due to COVID-19 for a suspended period of time. We'll see how this all turns out though. Green Wall and graduation. Report of the New World Order. Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So Hurricane Ada, the 28th named hurricane of the Atlantic Coast 2020 season, has actually hit the Atlantic coast of Honduras and Nicaragua, causing catastrophic damage so far. This is one of the hardest storms that actually hit Central America since Hurricane Mitch killed, a bunch of people like 2 decades ago. So this is nothing to be sneezed at. And keep the people in your positive thoughts and prayers. Green Wall and graduation. What other New World Order? Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report, man. Over in California, you had the ride-hailing apps. And when I say ride-hailing, you're talking about like Lyft, like Uber. These apps actually, they had a win where they led a $200 million campaign to basically bring about Proposition 22, which basically does not allow for their independent contractors to be classified as employees. So this was a battle that I honestly, it seemed like for organized laborers, people, that's a loss for them. They're not allowed to join the union. Human Rights Watch actually, they like opposed this ballot, but Californians voted on it. But nevertheless, they produced a video urging people to say no to Proposition 22, basically saying like this allows these gig economy companies to like circumvent having to abide by like labor laws of like having a minimum wage, providing like healthcare, or allowing the workers to join the union just because they're not workers now, they're independent contractors. And also it doesn't allow these gig companies to pay into Social Security or Medicare and things of that nature on behalf of their employees. So I think it's a very interesting situation. What do you think? Because I know a lot of people who actually do Uber and Lyft. These companies allow them to have cars and work for they call, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, they do get some low wages. It's like, I don't know, it definitely seems like it's pros and cons. There's people out here getting bread off of this shit too, but it's also people out here that's definitely starving, just like these taxi drivers that the whole app was meant to replace. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how this. I want to know what you think about it. Green War and graduation. Streets report out of the New World of the Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So more on these legislative changes that came from ballot measures being pushed into election day yesterday. So you have people all over the country voting on legislative changes that would take place in their communities, in their states. For example, you know how I just mentioned with Uber and Lyft and Proposition 22 in Cali. Well, over in Oklahoma, you actually had voters. They voted to not agree with this ballot measure that would have ended repeat sentence violations for nonviolent offenses. This actually would have freed thousands of prisoners who have been prosecuted even harsher for nonviolent offenses, but you know, for penalties that they have been convicted of prior to. So that happened in Oklahoma. That's where they stand. Over in Nebraska, they overwhelmingly voted to cap payday loans at 36% annual interest rates. Over in Florida, they agreed to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2026. Who the hell is coming up with these rules? Motherfuckers need $15 a day today. You know what I'm saying? Like by 2026, you're gonna need 20 an hour. By the way, inflation's been going, right? Like, I don't know, that's asinine to me, but nevertheless. And over in Mississippi, they actually voted to replace that fucking Confederate battle flag symbol that's in the state flag that's actually been over the Capitol since 1894. They actually replaced that battle flag with a magnolia flower. So, you know, kudos to all of the officials there for finally being a little less racist. Green War and graduation. Report out of the World of the Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. More ballot measures that were approved of during election day. Over in Arizona and in my home state, Jersey, they actually approved the legalization of marijuana for recreational use for people that are ages 21 and up. So that's a huge deal. Now, mind you, I'm from the hood, so we was already moving like that anyway. But now we can do it knowing that it's legal. You know what I'm saying? And people can actually set up shop and start actually partaking in the business of selling recreational marijuana. So that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Over in Oregon, however, they actually approved of Measure 110, which actually decriminalizes, and they become the first state to decriminalize low-level drug possession. You're talking about, like, you know what I mean, other drugs outside of marijuana or whatever. And they also make it legal, for recreational use of psychedelic mushrooms or shrooms. You know what I'm saying? So you in Oregon, you can have shrooms and be tripping out, whatever, but it's legal. You know what I'm saying? So that'll probably ease your high as well. Also, what they said that they're going to use the funding that they get from like not having as many criminal sentences, whatever, and they're gonna put it towards funding, crime prevention and addiction programs. So shout out to Oregon for being progressive. Now, Green War and graduation.